Welcome back. Time now is 7:44. The small country of Iceland is consistently ranked one of the best places in the world for women. And now the First Lady of Iceland is coming to Chicago to talk about the reasons why. I'm joined now by First Lady of Iceland, Eliza Reid, author of Secrets of the Sprakar, Iceland's Extraordinary Women and How They're Changing the World. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for being with us this morning. We really appreciate your time. It's around lunchtime in Iceland, so that's good. You are coming to Chicago next month, correct?
That's right. On May the 10th, I'll be at Everybody's Coffee at 7 p.m.
And what are we going to be talking about?
We are going to be talking about my book, Secrets of the Sprakar, as you mentioned. Sprakar is an old Icelandic word that means extraordinary women. And during the pandemic, I traveled around Iceland and interviewed about 40 different women in all walks of life for them to explain to people what it is like to live in what the World Economic Forum has said is the world's best country for women and what we can learn about it. And maybe the different angle there, and you probably can hear from my accent, is that I'm not born and raised in Iceland. I'm born and raised in Canada. And so I see the country a little bit differently with an immigrant's eyes, and hopefully can then draw things out that I think are particularly special about the country for an audience.
That's quite a title that Iceland has when it comes to women's rights. Does it live up to that title?
Well, I think so. We do very well. We have a lot of things in place that are great, like excellent policies, parental leave policies for both parents, heavily subsidized childcare. We have high representation, for example, of women in parliament, 47.5%. Our national bishop is a woman of the national church. Our chief of police is a woman. So these are great role models. But I think everyone in Iceland will be the first to tell you that we still have a lot of issues to work through. We need to have more women in corporate life. We need to make sure we're not leaving groups of women behind, women of color, queer women, women with disabilities. And obviously we have gender-based violence here as elsewhere, and we're never going to reach gender equality if we don't eradicate that.
How did we get to this point? Has this been a long time coming? Has it taken decades? How did it become a priority?
A lot of hard work, I think, and trying to remain vigilant and not forgetting. And I think one of the key things that has helped us here in Iceland is that we've really passed the tipping point here of whether or not achieving gender equality is an important objective, but how we are going to get there. And the reason I think that we've reached that tipping point is we know that trying to work towards greater equitability is something that is going to improve lives for everyone. It's not a zero-sum game where one group benefits at the expense of another. We know that more gender equal countries have happier populations, more peaceful, longer living men and women. And so I think as a society, we've seen it's something that is really going to benefit everybody.
You touched a little bit about this earlier. A parental leave, family work, life balance is a constant debate among companies and governments, any sort of company, any sort of government, cities, states. What do you suggest to people when they're talking about this and trying to come up with their own policies?
Exactly. And it's a very difficult thing. And certainly I'm not trying to tell other communities and countries what they need to do, but more show an example of what's worked here and hopefully inspire people in their everyday lives. I think things that make it easier for all of us to live up to our dreams and do pursue those dreams that we want to pursue regardless of our gender is something that is going to help everybody. And I hope that the stories of these outstanding women in the book really help to just inspire people in their own lives to follow their dreams and to speak up and use their voices, because we're all role models in some way, and it's really up to us whether we want to be positive role models or negative role models.
You yourself, role model, First Lady of Iceland. We've only got about 30 seconds left. Can you tell us quickly about your story, how you became First Lady, how you met?
Yes. We met in graduate school in England. I cheated a bit on a contest to win a blind date with him, and people can read the book. And my book talks a lot about using unexpected opportunities, like my opportunity to serve as First Lady here, to try to push for issues that we think are important and to use our voices in this world.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure. Eliza Reid, the First Lady of Iceland. Thank you so much. We'll look forward to your visit here in May in Chicago.
Thank you.
Thank you.